Whether you in a car, room, office, or tomb, Myron in the morning got to talk for all the news.
We back with
Sports
another
talking.
episode. Week 9 is complete into week 10. D. Schwartz, what's up, my guy?
Myron, how we doing? Glad to be back. Got another win. Feeling good. Big Thursday night game tonight.
Man, I got a tough loss last week. Tough loss. Only player that scored in double digits for me was my defense. Real tough week. But
Can't win like that.
the undefeated team did lose because they benched James Conner. So not still same 2 games behind first place. So not the worst week ever.
Yeah, now with the Edmonds injury, undefeated team getting Connor, that's a little scary.
Yeah, undefeated team who has James Conner. I'm definitely not too happy, but we do start off with some breaking news today instead of the injury report. Your boy OBJ, he's
LA.
going back to Cali.
Wow. I
Wow.
can't believe that. Look at that receiving core. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson he's got to slide down to that kind of fourth receiver role. He's not going to see much playing time.
Stafford's about to be slinging it. He's got all the weapons he's ever dreamed of. He's dreamed about having this many weapons.
Yeah.
I guess I was telling you before the show, like I'm shocked a little bit. I knew the Rams was all in, but I know they were this all in right now. They realize the margin of victory in the NFL is like this, so they're going for it. Congrats to them.
This is a team that just got Von Miller, so I'd be a little worried if I was in the NFC right now because they look good, and we'll see if they can put it together.
Yeah, more NFC news. Cam Newton gets signed today, headed back to Carolina. Talk about
Going home.
Survivor's guilt. He's going back to where it all started.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets to start, next week. They announced PJ starting.
Oh,
but
tough.
The hopes is for Cam to start next week. You got, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. How do you feel about the receivers? Can Cam get them the ball, you think, or is it going to be more running focus with McCaffrey?
No, I've been Cam's fine this whole time. Cam's back. Cam's good. I think if you're the Carolina Panthers owner, you have to be happy about the news of Cam Newton coming to town. Sam Darnold experiment didn't work, and Cam's better quarterback than Sam Darnold. That's as simple as that. I think he can come out and not only worst coming to worst, draw some fans to this arena. He's definitely about to give these guys something to play for. Great leader in the locker room. I think it's a win-win. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson owners got to be happy.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Christian McCaffrey is ecstatic. C-Mac got his boy back.
That's going to be exciting how they're – and we'll see how defenses prepare for that kind of two-headed monster in the backfield.
Yeah. Moving into the injury report, tough for week 9.
A lot of names.
A lot of names on the list. Your boy Chase Claypool, toe injury. They say he did survive a season-ending injury, but it is week to week. That's a big loss for an already wounded offense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alvin Kamara looking like he's out, and you still don't know what's going on with DeAndre Hopkins. A lot of big injuries last week.
And Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown's probably not going to play this week. We're not sure about Godwin. So he kind of got a late injury. Kyler's still banged up. A lot of big names out, but it does sound like we're going to get Russ versus Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it does sound like the Russell A-Rod thing may happen. Got tons of questions on how, but this is neither the time nor the place. But exciting for fantasy owners to have both of those guys back.
Yes.
If you're the receivers, you're ecstatic because it's week 10 of fantasy, so you need DK Metcalf and Lockett right now. There's no time for games.
No, absolutely not. And hopefully you're in first if you've been stashing OBJ for this long.
Yeah, because you got to be excited, right? OBJ heading to LA. You assume that Cooper Kupp's probably fine, but if you're a Robert Woods owner or Van Jefferson owner, I don't know how excited you are about
Higbee too. I'd be a little worried there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if OBJ can give his career a little CPR right now. A lot of people think he's down and out, but I think he still got it. He's shown some upside previously, not this year, but we've seen some OBJ play still, and everyone in the circle says he still got it. So I'm gonna give him a chance.
And I do think Stafford is the quarterback to get him the ball, and it's gonna be on OBJ to make the plays, but I'm not worried about Stafford getting it there. I do want to give a shout out to George Kittle. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Came back with a force, 17 fantasy points, had himself a fantastic day. And that 49ers offense really missed him. I kind of forgot how good the 49ers were until he came back. And I was like, okay, this is This is why they're the 49ers. This is what everyone was talking about before the year.
Yeah, they can run the ball and with a tight end in the middle. And finally, Brandon Ayuk is getting involved more.
Showed
Debo
up,
Samuel's
yeah.
a little banged up, but you know how good he is. So with the two receivers out there, Elijah Mitchell playing like a running back one, and George Kittle in the middle, Garoppolo has been awesome. He's been, I think, one of the highest quarterbacks in fantasy the last 2 weeks.
He has, and the Trey Lance discussion has kind of quieted down now, and it's looking like Jimmy G probably going to have the spot finish the season. Obviously,
Through
but
the year.
Trey got banged up, obviously, but bad time to get banged up. Jimmy's here, and I think Jimmy's got the position, and he is the guy who got them to the Super Bowl before. Let's just keep it
He did.
honest here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With a better defense, but Jimmy can play. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I think he's gonna. Love what you see out of Brandon Ayuk lately. You gotta love that.
Yeah, getting targets, getting involved in the offense. Someone else who's staying involved in the offense is Darnell Mooney. Saw him have a nice Monday night game. And Elijah Moore on Thursday night. Josh Johnson,
Welcome.
Mike White caught a touchdown pass from both of them. So two young receivers that are kind of establishing themselves as the number one on their team.
Yeah, and two viable, waiver wire pickups for sure. Especially a guy like Mooney in the Chicago Bears offense that's been struggling. He looks like a bright light in a bad offense. You did see Allen Robinson do a little bit last week, but
I'm surprised they ran Montgomery the way they did with the bye this week. They gave him 20-something touches, I think.
oh yeah, they said he was fine. He's ready to go, and went with the old, if you're gonna play and you're healthy, you're gonna play. There's
Right.
no there's no snap count. There's no limits. You said you're good to play, then play. And he had a fantastic game. Not extraordinary, but it was good to see him. He looked healthy. I didn't see any issues. And going
No,
into a
he
bye
did.
week,
And
I think
Fields
that's
looked
probably
good
why they
too.
did it. You give him a chance to go full volume, and now you see if there's any soreness. And you got this bye week here to allow some time if there is some soreness too. If he has
Yeah.
no soreness over the whole bye week, he's good for the rest of the season.
I don't think Matt Nagy's that smart though. I think he's just like, oh, you can play, like you're playing the whole game, and he's complaining the whole time, like, coach, like maybe put Herbert in for a little bit. No, Montgomery, David, stay out there. That's what I'd be worried about.
Speaking of guys still booming, man, your boy Jonathan Taylor, the Indianapolis Colts, he is looking like probably the best fantasy running back now after the injuries have subsided for the other guys. Taylor's been very consistent and he's been very dangerous.
He has Jacksonville this weekend, so you're expecting another big week.
Yeah.
But then after that, he hits like a gauntlet, and he's got 3 really tough matchups. Hopefully, the Colts can find a win or two and keep Taylor booming on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping the opposite though, because I got Taylor coming up in a couple of weeks, and he has definitely benefited from a softer schedule early in the season, but he's been impressive to say the least. And another running back who I'm loving right now is Joe Mixon, Mr. Dependable.
Yeah, if he stays on the field, he's a focal point in that offense. He's involved. He's catching passes. He's really kind of a do-it-all back. And, he's getting goal line carries. But Bengals, how about that dud they put up against the Browns?
Yeah, that's why Joe Mixon's Mr. Dependable, because he hadn't put up no dud, but everything else around him did. And just one of those weeks it looked like for the Bengals. I'm sure they'll come back out shooting next week, but
Young
tough
team.
to have that in a battle against Ohio.
Absolutely. And so big for Baker and the Browns to come out after the Odell fallout.
Yeah.
Perform like that.
Gigantic.
They might be all the way back. And this game they got, we'll get into it later, but them and the Patriots, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, gigantic win for the Browns there. I got to know, are you buying the hype on Jalen Waddle? He has been consistent the last couple of weeks. Doesn't really matter who's his quarterback right now, it seems, in Miami. Are you all in on Jalen Waddle? Is he a guy you start depending on and playing in like the flex spot possibly, or kind of a stash still?
No, I'm playing him. I think he's getting the volume where you have to kind of start playing him. And like you said, no quarterback doesn't really matter because they need to get him involved. He's their best receiver. No Devontae Parker, no Will Fuller.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to get the ball to?
Besides
right?
Gesicki, yeah.
You got to throw. And I think he's going to keep getting those 8 to 12 targets per game, and we'll see what he does with them. He's a guy that can get 6 but 40 yards. So if he can catch a touchdown, you're feeling really good. And we just haven't seen that big play.
In week 3, I told you that James Conner could be the next LeGarrette Blount. And here we are in
What was
week
he
10.
11 touchdowns?
We're in week 10. He got 11 touchdowns. And after the 37-point fantasy performance he just gave us, Chase Edmonds is now down with an injury out multiple weeks. How much is the James Conner stock rose, and are you all in?
Oh, it skyrocketed. He's a guy in a high-powered offense with Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins. You got to think it's just going to be better. And if he's able to get all the work, if he's getting Chase Edmonds' work and he's still, retaining his workload, well, Benjamin's getting some third down plays, but if James Conner really turns into that Joe Mixon type workhorse back, RB1 for sure.
And you think about what you drafted James Conner at as
so late
in the draft, a guy who you assume would be backing up Chase Edmonds all year.
Mm-hmm.
He can, like you said, an undefeated team in my league has James Conner on the bench as his fourth running back. He's in a position where he can win some people some leagues.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
But before we move off of the hype, I got to talk about this guy because it's been a tough season for him. Allen Robinson had 8 fantasy points, 68 receiving yards. Some bright sides for owners.
I think if you hadn't already dropped him, you're considering it.
You're not picking him back up?
I just don't think you can trust him to play right now. And if someone else wants to take that responsibility on, by all means, go ahead. Right now, depending on where you're at, you need to be looking for consistency. And we're 10 weeks into the season. Allen Robinson has 1 game of double digits. I can't have that.
Yeah, you agree. It's late in the year and it's money time now. Week 10, this is here.
Speaking of money time, talk about some high drafted guys that put up some duds last week. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Jones, the Dallas offense.
Yeah.
No. What are you doing?
Dallas offense has set up Dak Prescott with his late garbage touchdowns, but yes, a very tough week. And maybe Dallas had what Cincinnati just had, one of those weeks, the same type of week we saw the Chargers have a couple weeks ago against the Colts. Maybe
they saw the Rams have one.
Just saw the Rams hit one. Maybe they just hit that week. It's a longer year than usual. COVID, everyone's in and out every 2 weeks. Maybe the offense of Dallas just hit one of those dry spots. I'm still confident if I'm a CD Lamb owner moving into next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amari Cooper owners, you definitely got to start being worried about where you drafted him at.
Yeah, and that could be one of those scenarios. You hit one of those weeks, and it really benefits the team. You get to go to the film room, understand what's going on, and move forward.
Yeah, but something I am a little worried about. I heard Charles Davis mention this during the broadcast. Mike Williams could be a little injured, and that may be the reason for his tough 3 weeks we've had. Another bad week again for Mike Williams.
Yeah, we're getting back to the Mike Williams of old. We've seen a few years previously. I think he still has the big play potential. If he's playing, you got to think you like the offense. They're going to have good matchups. They're going to be throwing the ball. The only problem is that a lot more people are getting involved in that offense than we initially thought. They got 2 tight ends, Eckler. They're working 2 or 3 running backs. Welcome back, Keenan Allen, though. He had his best game of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely getting scary over there with the Mike Williams owner, as I am one of those. He's not that wide receiver 1 that he was 4 weeks ago during our broadcast. But like you said, the volume and the deep ball potential, I think he's still a must play. But definitely getting a little nervous there if you're a Mike Will owner.
And as a Patrick Mahomes owner, Myron, what are you doing? Are you benching him? Do you have another quarterback to start? What are you thinking?
It's tough. I don't know. You had to start Pat Mahomes, not hurt. I can't just bench him, but I almost picked up Derek Carr this week in my other league, and I missed him by one waiver pickup. I'm definitely worried though, because at this point he's costing me a league because you drafted Pat Mahomes very high because of how great of a year he's been having the last 2 years.
Yeah,
he's someone that went where I don't even draft quarterbacks at in the 2nd and 3rd round. So I think it's getting scary.
But despite his struggles, you're still 6-3, one of the better teams in the league. So if he can figure it out, you got to only think my team can take it to another level. Now let's talk about some waivers though, because we got some guys. Dearness Johnson's looking like he's going to get another play. Hopefully you didn't drop him. You kept him on your roster for a little bit, just kind of checking it out.
Last week and I just dropped him. I'm so pissed.
Damn.
I'm so pissed. And he's probably going to get the start of the week, like you said. Nick Chubb potentially out, COVID protocols, game time decision. So yeah, De'Aaron Johnson has to be number one on waiver wire pickups. As Kareem Hunt is still no signs of returning yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Monday night we saw Pat Freiermuth catch 2 touchdowns. When Ebron comes back, you got to think it's still Freiermuth's job. He's looked really good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, Freiermuth has definitely, I think, taken the job in Pittsburgh. Ebron has picked a terrible time to get hurt. It's kind of tough with Freiermuth, though, because when you think about the top 12 or 13 tight ends, I'm not sure if he has the volume. The touchdowns are there for sure, but I think you might have 12 other tight ends that you like more than Freiermuth.
Yeah.
But he's right there on that edge of the Dalton Schultz type of guys. With a guy like Dawson Knox coming back this week, Freiermuth's at a spot like that where do I play a guy like Freiermuth or do I test the waters with Dawson Knox off of an injury?
Yeah, and now with the Claypool injury, you got to like your odds a little bit more playing Freiermuth because James Washington and Ray are going to come in, but James Washington's a guy you could target as well.
I was going to say James Washington, a guy who demanded a trade early in the season, happened to stay longer. Juju Smith gets out on an injury. Now Claypool, I'm sure he didn't pray on it, but this is a moment he's been waiting for all season. He has opportunity to show his talent, and we've seen his talent before. A deep ball receiver that can fly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I heard a comment last year, and Big Ben was like, "That's my favorite guy to throw to deep because he just knows James Washington's going to go up and get it."
So it should be interesting. I think you can target James Washington. Wouldn't get all ahead of yourself and start starting him right away. I would like to see how he works the first week with no Claypool.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Atlanta got a good win, a game they would probably normally lose in previous years against the Saints on the road. Are you picking up a guy like Russell Gage?
That's a tough one, man, because of how bad the Falcons offense has been. And it wasn't like when Calvin really was playing, the offense was dominant, and it appears to be a Cordell Patterson or Kyle Pitts show. I think Russell Gage has to be a receiver you pick up. Maybe if you have like a Randall Cobb on your waiver in that same type of category. He's a good stash right now, but I'm not sure if he has any play options.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you got to throw Cordell Patterson in the MVP for fantasy football. Like he's in that discussion because he was either undrafted, drafted in the last round, and everyone just keeps thinking like, "Oh, he can't do this every week, right?" No, he can. He can actually play all 3 positions, be involved in the offense every single week.
He's absolutely winning or ruining people's fantasy dreams this year. 100%. People are either pissed or they're in love because, like you said, the value that you drafted Cordell Patterson is. I remember seeing his name and literally laughing out loud through fantasy. Like, there's no chance I'm touching Cordell Patterson this year. That's what I said out loud to myself, and here I am for like a
looking stupid.
So hey, never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Patterson's been really good.
How do you feel about a guy like Brandon Bolden? You know, James White's been out the last 3 to 4 weeks, but it kind of seems like he's kind of filling the shoes of that receiving role that the Pats like to have. You testing the waters with Brandon Bolden?
No, my typical rule is I don't have Patriots running backs. And I think last year I did get Damian Harris because he's clearly the guy that's going to get 20 touches. They use him a little bit in the receiving role, but I can't trust him. And Bill Belichick will do kind of crazy things and give it to different guys, just like Sean Payton's doing in New Orleans, not playing Taysom Hill. We saw him go 3-1 last year with Taysom Hill, and he's playing Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, well, why'd you sign Taysom Hill back?
I thought you signed him to play if something like this happened.
I thought you at least signed him for the insurance role behind Jameis, but hey, that's why you signed Trevor, I guess. Whole disaster over there in New Orleans. And speaking of waiver wire pickups in New Orleans, Alvin Kamara possibly hurt. Mark Ingram, flashback.
Yeah, if Mark Ingram gets like the start without Kamara, you could play him. He's going to get 25 touches. He's going to be involved in the receiving game, so definitely.
Week 10 buys, we got the Texans, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Giants. But we do kick it off tonight with the Ravens and the Dolphins. How you feeling about this one, Coach?
I think it's obvious that the Ravens should beat up on the Dolphins and win this game by a lot.
Yeah.
So I think the Dolphins cover. I think the Dolphins play them tough at home. Ravens are coming off a long overtime game. They just pulled it out on another last-second field goal. 3 days rest. They gotta be pretty drained. So I think the Ravens could come out slow, and we could see one of those Lamar Jackson comebacks we've been so used to seeing.
Rolling in at 1 o'clock Sunday, we got the Saints and the Titans. Man, I think
AJ Brown's been so good, but he's got Marshawn Lattimore this week.
I was gonna say I'm not sure how much I love the fantasy options on this game. We did mention, of course, the running back, whoever gets to start in New Orleans, I think should go. Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
I'm not touching the New Orleans receivers right now. They got some stuff to figure out. And as far as Tennessee goes, I think AJ Brown's a start. I'm not sure about Julio, maybe in a deeper league as a flex play, but Julio really has not been productive, to say the least. And the running back spot, maybe you get caught with buys and you got to reach and start a touchdown dependent AP.
Play AP. I don't love AP this week just because New Orleans run defense is so good. It's kind of like New Orleans and Tampa have really good run defenses. So I don't think AP is really a good play. But if, like you said, you got some buys or injuries and you need to play a running back, he got 10 carries, 11 carries.
Yeah, they'll probably fall in the end zone.
Yeah. Now, what about Bills Jets? Bills coming off a stinker. You got to think they could probably take out some anger on the Jets here.
You got to hope so, at least. The Bills, you got to assume that your receivers are going to come back and play better. Josh Allen's going to play better. They had a tough week. Yeah. And like I said, they just got to one of those groups. I think if you're an owner of any of the Bills, I think everyone's a go. Running backs are still tough. Both of them are struggling and have been struggling consistently.
Moss is banged up. If he's out, you can play Singletary.
Yeah. I said unless one's out, I don't feel comfortable about playing the other.
Agree. Now, Jets side, you got Mike White starting. I think you can play Michael Carter still, but it is a good Buffalo run defense. And then if you have to play Elijah Moore,
are you trying to strike lightning twice?
Not on Trey White. Probably not. There's not a guy you want to test.
If Corey Davis comes back, that's who might get Trey White. So then you got a guy like Elijah Moore that could not be seen. It's going to be a toss-up. I don't know.
Yeah, I play with caution because that is a good Buffalo secondary for sure.
The Detroit Lions are traveling to my boys, Steel City.
Getting their first win. Let's go in the Steel City.
You see the shirt. They're not going to win. I'm starting DeAndre Swift against the Lions. Against the Steelers, they have a good run defense, but DeAndre's been involved in the run game the passing game as well. And they might get down by a lot, so they might have to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So Steelers are starting Najee. Starting Deontay.
Love a Najee Harris matchup this week.
Yeah, you got to think he's going to maybe have one of his best days in his young career so far.
Yeah. Big Ben?
So, no,
Deontay
not touching.
Johnson?
No, I'll play Deontay, but you can't start Big Ben. You got to think there's 12, 15. James Washington, if you're like three receivers, and I don't know, but
15 better quarterbacks than Big Ben, if not 20.
Fantasy purposes.
If not 20.
He could be he could be like 31. I don't know. Love Ben though. What about Jaguars going to the Colts?
This is a tricky one. I love that.
You playing James Robinson? Is he healthy?
If James Robinson's healthy, you think you have to play him. If he's not healthy, I don't love the play of Agnew, despite how electric he is. I don't know against a coach defense that he's a great play. Receivers, I don't know.
Marvin Jones, maybe.
Marvin Jones. You want?
I'd rather play a Jaguars receiver over a running back just because of the Colts defense. But probably a week you avoid the Jaguars.
Yeah, I agree. And for the Colts, you got to love a lot of matchups. Michael Pitman, hopefully he can stay hot. You assume he will. T.Y. Hilton's coming off an injury, off a concussion protocol. If he plays, is he a flex option?
Potentially. I'm a little worried. I got Carson Wentz, and I think I'm going to bench him for Derek Carr and Russell Wilson. Just because I'm worried if the Colts get up early in this game, it's going to be JT, Hines. I'm a little worried about the volume that Carson Wentz and the receivers are going to get. You're still playing Pittman, but I don't know about the passing game this week.
Speaking of Hines, can you play Hines yet?
This might be a week you could do it just because you got to think the Colts roll the Jags. But if the Jags actually found something last week after the win against the Bills, we'll see.
Your boys, the Buccaneers, travel to D.C. for the football team. You got to love the matchup here if you're a Bucs
Mike
owner.
Evans.
Mike
Yep,
Evans.
playing him this week.
And you hope Chris Godwin can figure it out and play, because if so, I think he has a huge game. And on the football team side, I think you start Terry, and after that,
I'm not starting Gibson. He's a little banged up. Good Tampa Bay rushing defense.
McKissick could get involved in the receiving game as a running
That's
back.
what you got to hope. Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I could see McKissick getting 6 or 7 receptions. In a PPR league, no matter how many yards,
PPR league,
that's 7 points right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to be throwing all game because you got to think the Buccaneers coming off a bye are going to, play some pretty good football.
You hope so, right?
What about potential game of the week just because of the future playoff implications? Browns-Patriots. Patriots have been looking good the last 2 weeks. Browns coming off their best game of the season. This could be a dogfight.
Who would have thought you said the Patriots have playoff implications 2 years after Tom Brady left? Nobody. But they're back and they're looking good, and the defense is humming. As far as fantasy goes, I love Damian Harris this week with the Patriots. I think he has himself a pretty good game. I'm not sure about Jacoby Myers still. He still seemed to be anti-end zone, but I think Hunter Henry's a good player tight end.
Yeah, Hunter Henry's obviously been Mac Jones' go-to receiver down in the red zone, and you can't start Jacoby Myers right now. He's just not been as productive as we saw in the beginning of the season. I agree. I think Harris is really the only for sure play, and then Hunter Henry's solid if you need a tight end. On the other side of the ball, you start the running back, I guess, but are you starting Jarvis Landry? Are you starting Baker? DPJ, he looked really good, but can you hope to catch a bomb every game?
Jarvis is going to have a tough matchup against J.C. Jackson for sure.
Yeah.
I think you had to start him probably due to the volume, and you know how much Baker loves to look at Jarvis. You have to expect this game could also be very ugly and nasty, though, knowing the Browns and the Patriots. I would not be shocked to see a ground and pound game from both teams.
No, like a 17-16 game, 5 field goals. We'll see. It's gonna be a big game. Week 17, we're gonna look back on this game, and whoever won this is gonna have a good little tiebreaker.
Week 18, Falcons go to Dallas for the Cowboys. That's a great
game 17.
That's a great way to get back in the mode if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely. Falcons. Weak secondary. Gotta like that matchup for all Cowboys. I think they're all go. Cooper, probably Schwartz, CeeDee Lamb.
Schultz.
Even if Gallup comes back, you can't be worried about your 2 stud receivers. Zeke, and are you playing Tony Pollard? Well, Zeke's a little banged up. Are they gonna split carries?
I think I'm still playing Zeke. I'm going to hold off on Tony still. I think there's some other better options out there possibly, unless Zeke is out of the game. If Zeke's ruled out, then obviously Tony's a start. But I think with Zeke playing, I really think Dak's got some revenge out of this game. It could be a lot of passing.
I agree. On the Falcons side, Cordero Patterson and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, play the boys. Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson. That's really about it. I'm sure Mike hasn't done much for you, Mike Davis.
Mike Davis, no, he had probably his worst week last week. So he's staying quietly on the bench. I got Darrell Williams, who we'll talk about for the Chiefs game, but Clyde Edwards is practicing. He's coming back. So I'm a little running back thin right now. Hopefully we can stay healthy throughout the rest of the season.
We got a great 4:00 schedule, though. You got the Panthers going to the Cardinals.
Hopefully
this could be a trap game. This could be a trap game. Panthers have a really good defense. And the Cardinals appear to be really banged up with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, no Chase Edmonds.
If we see Colt McCoy again, I don't know if we're gonna get another Cardinals win. I do agree.
Yeah,
I'd be a little worried playing the Panthers receivers this week because you do have PJ Walker, and you got to think it's a lot of McCaffrey. Yeah. So I don't know if you're benching DJ Moore, but he's the only guy worth playing. Robbie Anderson's not a play.
Yeah, no, Robbie Anderson's not a play at all. You're 100% right on that. And as far as the Cardinals go, you just have to figure out which receiver is going to be healthy. If Hopkins is healthy, you play him. If not, you play Christian Kirk. AJ Green's back, which is a sneaky flex option, I think. But I think it all depends on who's the quarterback. Colt McCoy is under center. I'm not reaching to AJ Green.
No, and I can't trust Rondell Moore right now. He's not involved as you need for fantasy purposes.
And you're all over James Conner. All over him.
Absolutely.
If you should have
You know
traded
that.
for him 2 weeks ago, because it's a guy you want right now.
I also see some fireworks in this next game, Vikings-Chargers. Seems like a lot of points.
Seems like a lot of points fantasy-wise. I'm loving every single player, quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends. I'm loving them all on both sides.
I agree.
It could be an absolute shootout. It honestly do. I mean, why not?
Enough side. This is a green light game. Play
It's a green light game. Everyone goes free for all. And if you get your quarterbacks in this next 4:00 game, I think you got another green light shootout here. Packers and the Seahawks. Seahawks going to Lambeau. If Russell Wilson's back and A-Rod's off COVID protocol, this is exactly the game of the week.
And that's what they were hoping for with the schedule making. Chris Carson's coming back. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week or not. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon have been splitting a lot of time. You got to be worried if you have Aaron Jones.
Yeah. Can
you trust A.J. Dillon to get you enough volume or points to play him yet?
No, I think Aaron Jones is still the play. No A-Rod, so last game to me doesn't mean much at all. We know A-Rod and Aaron Jones are going to roll together, and Aaron trusts A. Jones a lot more than A.J. Dillon right now. And A. Jones helps out in the receiving game. I don't know if you can trust A.J. Dillon yet, but I think you're playing Devontae, of course, if you get your boy A-Rod back.
Maybe Lazard with Rodgers.
You can go the other receivers. I'm really
maybe.
He's been so Devontae. It's almost
the problem is there's no more Tunyon. I guess Randall Cobb's still around. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you could really trust anyone else besides Devontae on that receiving team.
You got the Eagles and the Broncos talking about possible nasty defensive matchups. This could be another one. Or Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense could finally wake up and have themselves an explosive day. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, if the Broncos carry over what they did last week to the Cowboys, I think they steamroll the Eagles.
Steamroll the Eagles.
Right. So Eagles might have found something last week against the Chargers. This is a big, who really figured something out last week and who's going to move on to the next round. Because I think if you lose this game, your season's over.
Well, if the Eagles figured it out last week against the Chargers, if you're an owner of any Eagles receiver, you're pissed off because figuring it out means ground and pound, not much passing the ball at all. Jalen Hurts limit turnovers. So if you're an Eagles receiver,
except Devonta, he finally gave you one.
I don't know if you can trust Devonta this week against a very
not week to week, not week to week yet. If he does it again this week, then you're going to play him third week. He might give you a dud, but then you at least know it's ground and pound. Get the ball to Devonta.
Yeah, for the Eagles, I'm only liking Jalen Hurts, and possibly if you're hit with the bye bug, then you go ahead and get a guy like Jordan Howard, who's been very, very touchdown friendly. But it's very risky there. The Broncos, I'm loving Javonte Williams. I'm still liking
both the running backs.
Melvin Gordon's looking good.
Yeah, both the running backs have been great.
The receiving core has been a little questionable.
Yeah, they do get Noah Fant back this week, so that'll help, I think.
I don't know other owners of other receivers. So
Philadelphia is pretty good against the pass, so I think this is a ground and pound game for the Denver Broncos.
Beware. This is a play receiver with caution game for sure.
But it's not a ground and pound game. Is the Sunday Night Football game, divisional matchup, Chiefs Raiders.
It depends on what Kansas City Chiefs team we see, because this has the makings to be a complete shootout. Derek Carr has had an amazing year. As far as the Raiders go, I'm loving the play of Josh Jacobs this week against not too great Kansas City defense.
Friendly.
I'm liking Hunter Renfrow this week again. I'm not sure about the other receivers. I didn't see Edwards or Zay Jones step into that role like I wanted to.
No, and they might have Deshaun Jackson playing this week, so he's not a guy you're playing, but he's definitely someone that's going to take attention away from these other receivers. So I do like Renfrow and Darren Waller for sure. On the other side, you're playing your studs, but in the backfield, if Clyde Edwards plays, you can't play Darrell Williams. And are you trusting Clyde in his first game back?
I think you're playing Darrell, and it's tough to trust Clyde. It's tough to even play Darrell. I currently have both of them on the bench, and I'm going 3 receivers this week because you just don't know. If it gets ruled out that Clyde's not playing, I think Darrell's your option again. Many fantasy experts are saying Darrell's still a go this week.
Do we see Odell Beckham Monday Night Football?
With it being a Monday night game, it's very possible because him being a free agent also makes it a lot easier, I think, to get the paperwork and everything through, no trade and all that stuff like that. I think it's a good chance you see Odell Monday night.
He might suit up. Okay.
And if
But
so,
Rams
49ers are in for a
49ers, another divisional
long
game.
day. 49ers are in for a long day. I'm not sure with OBJ coming in what receivers you're able to play. Obviously, Cooper Kupp for the Rams to start. Obviously, Henderson's a start. You love Higbee at tight end still, too. But Robert Woods owners have to be worried, and Van Jefferson owners have to be pissed about a guy like OBJ coming over.
Yeah, especially because you were just thinking like Van Jefferson's about to be fantasy relevant and someone I can play week to week. Unfortunately, not anymore.
49ers,
Other side, you got some guys, though. I think you can play.
You love your boy.
Our boy Elijah Mitchell.
About him. Yeah, go ahead.
George Kittle, obviously. And a healthy Deebo Samuel has been awesome all year. And with Brandon Ayuk actually getting more involved in the offense, you got to think it just opens up things more for Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, that's probably the first time all season that I think I'm playing all three of those 49ers you're talking about. And like you said, Jimmy Garoppolo has actually been pretty solid. 2 quarterback leads. I think he's a fair play too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tough defense though. Tough defense, but I think it does have potential just to be more of a shootout.
Yeah, I do agree. And it being Monday Night Football, hoping to see some points. You got the cleats of the week this week, because I think your choice was definitely better than mine. Man, I got to give it to Justin Jefferson. He had those number 18 jet cleats, kind of like the old turbo engine, like Hot Wheels. They were awesome. Go look it up.
Hey, week 10, we are in for some fireworks. You might get OBJ. Probably won't get Cam Newton, but he might be in the building, and that's big enough.
Well, he'll be in the building. We'll see if he'll be on the sideline. How's he going to wear his hair?
He's on the sidelines.
Detroit, right to the big leagues, the big screen where we prove that we on big things. I'm doing what I want to keep on